All right, everyone, welcome to the Tonto's Demise Week 13 recap. Still getting used to that week 13 not being the last week of the regular season. I know it's been a few years, but I'm still not used to that yet. I am the Wizard of Wimber. So I got the Tonto Bowl 2, 8, 9, 13. 15, 18, and 21 champion. um, Looking for ring number 8. We'll see what happens here. Just got to get in this week, and we'll talk about that. Let's just dive right into it. Of course, the most interesting matchup. We did have some. Everything actually turned out kind of interesting this week. Mostly in terms of the playoff seeding shuffle here, the race. There's first place. Ed lost. The first place is still up for grabs. That second bye week up for grabs. So yeah, both bye weeks. We'll see what Ed can do. Everybody's got kind of in trouble. Most of the top teams having some issues. So yeah, these playoffs are going to be very interesting, however it shakes out. So we always start with the defending champion, Possum Magic. Unfortunately, this will be the next. We only have one more week where Possum Magic will be the lead in our presentations here. He unfortunately will not be getting an opportunity to defend his title, and he was trying to knock off Biscuits and Porn. A victory this week for Possum Magic would have taken Biscuits down with him. This would have eliminated Biscuits and Porn from the playoffs. However, what's his name? Andy Borogalis shanks a field goal. I don't know. It does not say how short. What was the yardage on that field goal? Like converting a 45-yarder. Okay, he shanked that field goal and saved Biscuits and Porn because Biscuits and Porn squeaks out the victory, 153.95 to 153.4. Had to go and double check these scores, make sure everything was in order, and it seems to be. So yeah, Biscuits and Porn by 0.55. His season stays alive. Basically that shanked field goal. I was talking to him a little bit about it too. I'm gonna have to go just to double check and make sure nothing changed. If the Pittsburgh Steelers get one more first down in that game, Jim's season is over. But here we are. It is what it is, as Gag's shirt would say. So what do we got? Biscuits and Porn sneaking out the victory and saving his season, at least for the time being. He owes me a bit of a favor. Owes me a favor, but thank you for giving him Troy Franklin, who I'm assuming you had, until we made our trade, you had Calvin Austin in there in the flex, and he scored you a big 0. So if it wasn't for Troy Franklin, I don't know, but assuming that you would have kept Calvin Austin in your flex play, which of all your choices here, I don't know why that's the one you would go with, honestly. Yeah, your season would also be over. But anyway, I digress. We got Bo Nix going for 50.5. JSN, Minnesota put up no fight in this one. He didn't have to do much of anything. 4.3, putting a big damper on his attempt to get 2,000 receiving yards this year. That puts a big hurt in that effort. Wandale goes for 10.5. Ladd goes for 14. Genty 12, Pollard 5, Mason Taylor 4, Troy Franklin said 4, but that was better than the 0. Kind of surprised that Knicks put up 50 points and completed 29 passes, but he really just did not look Troy Franklin or Courtland Sutton's way. Courtland Sutton was in this matchup. I see. He did have 5 catches. Sutton did get the touchdown though. So yeah, guess I can't say that so much, but it was a heavy Evan Ingram day, I think. All right, Master Bates gets about 6, maybe I think it was like 6.1, and your defense, huge performance in this matchup. Buffalo defense at Pittsburgh. Yahoo says 19. I believe we had to bump you up to like 43, I think, something like that. That would have been, what, 24 points? That sounds about right. So yeah, the Buffalo Bills defense saved your hide this week. I believe it was definitely over 40. It was 40-something. But like I said, if the Steelers had gotten one more first down, or if just somebody had tackled that guy after he strip sacked Aaron Rodgers at the beginning of the second half there, instead of letting him score a touchdown. But who knows? We could talk about all sorts of things that could have gone differently in this matchup. But yeah, it's like 40-something, and obviously just enough to squeak past Possum Magic. Lamar Jackson, not sure. He's fallen off a cliff the second half of this season after he said he got injured, and he just hasn't done really much of anything since, even after he's come back. 25 points this week, a couple of fumbles lost. Diggs goes for 5.5. The Olive gets 14.5. Courtland Sutton, 17. Derrick Henry, also 17. Jonathan Taylor, 15. Colston Loveland, just under 6. Another factor in this matchup, on the Monday night game, you had... So I think Jim had Wandale, and Possum Magic had Diggs. He had Tyrone Tracy, and he had the Patriots kicker. I think Jim had like a 10-point lead or something, and it was 3 players to 1. And Wandale Robinson was able to get just enough to keep Biscuits alive here. But Tyrone Tracy did get hurt in some, I don't know if it was the 4th quarter or late in the 3rd quarter, and he left the game. He gets you a little bit, maybe catches a pass at the end of that game. This matchup goes differently. I see Tyrone Tracy in the flex there. He had 1 reception. It was for -3 yards. So if his 1 catch just would have gotten some positive yards, this matchup goes the other way. Again, here we are, Borregales, the Patriots kicker. He doesn't shank that field goal. This matchup goes the other way. Jacksonville defense, I believe we doubled you up. Yahoo says 18. I believe it was another 18 to 36. All sorts of things could have happened differently in this matchup to have made it go the opposite way. Possum, you could have dragged Biscuits and Porn down with you, but not able to do it. And Biscuits and Porn, he gets the victory. He moves to 7-6. He is in 7th place with 1 week to go. Possum Magic drops to 4-9. He is currently in 11th place. All right, and then we'll talk about the rest of the matchups here real quick. All right, we'll just go straight down my line. We got the Wizard of Wimber going against the Dub C Hooligans. Wizard of Wimber trying to get a victory here and secure a playoff spot. Dub C Hooligans already kind of mathematically out of the playoffs, says not so fast. Gets the victory. 155.7 to only 125.3. A huge fall off from last week for Wizard of Wimber. Basically, this matchup, Kevin possibly could have knocked me out of the playoffs here, because if I needed to win this matchup. Now I'm forced into a win or go home matchup versus Biscuits and Porn this week. Instead of clinching a victory, or getting a victory would have clinched the playoff spot. meaning it would have made whatever happened versus Jim this week not matter. However, again, if Jim would have just done me a favor and lost, and done Disco a favor and lost this week, he would have been out. And we would have been, my matchup this week with Jim would have no real consequences. But right, let's talk about the winner of this matchup, the Dub C Hooligans, fighting till the end. He's got Jalen Hurts. This one's set up pretty favorably for Dub C Hooligans. Right out of the gate, wasn't looking good for me because, let's see, on Thanksgiving, you had Javonte Williams put up 17 points. I think you didn't have anybody else there. And then on Friday, you had also, never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. All your Eagles on Friday, Jalen Hurts put up 36 points, but A.J. Brown put up almost the exact same total. 10 of Jalen Hurts' completions went to A.J. Brown, to both of his touchdowns, and 130 of his 230 passing yards went to A.J. Brown. So, big week for your Eagles stack this week. And then Devontae Adams squeezed in here. He went for 22 points, lined up against my Puka. Puka did better catches and yardage-wise, but Devontae Adams, again, he's been a touchdown machine this year, taking all of them away from Kyron and Puka. Said A.J. Brown said he went for 35 points. John Mechie goes for 5.5. Jordan Mason, just under 6. Cotton goes for 3. Chris Rodriguez gets 10. Dicker the kicker gets about 10 also. And then your Eagles defense, Yahoo says 8. I believe it was just a bump up to 11 for you. And then we got for the Wizard of Winber, Drake May goes for 47. Puka goes for 13. Khalil Shakir, only 1.5. DJ Moore, only 4.7. So in that matchup with the Eagles there. So yeah, this matchup, the direction of this matchup was swinging heavily in Kevin Bean's favor. Pretty much right out of the gate there. Also, on Thanksgiving, Jahmyr Gibbs didn't do much at all. Only 11.5 points for him. ETN, in what I thought was going to be a smash spot versus Tennessee, he gets only 5 points. Kittle gets 10.5. Travion gets 11.5. Fairbairn goes for about 8.5. And then what I also thought was going to be a good spot for my Denver Broncos defense. They actually barely won this game. Yahoo says 8. I think we both just got 11s from our like plus 3s from our defenses. Yeah, I didn't get very much at all. So this week, just a big disappointment up and down my lineup. Thought I had some good matchups. ETN, possibly Shakir, could have done. I thought he would do a little bit more. Would have liked to see Travion do a little bit more. The Denver defense do a little bit more against Marcus Mariota. But it is not meant to be, and now I gotta sweat the rest of the week over this matchup with Jim, because whoever wins is probably will move on to the playoffs, and whoever loses is done for the season, unless we'll get to that. Anyway, Dub C Hooligans, he moves to 6 and 7. He is in 8th place, while the Wizard of Wimber moves to 7 and 6. He is in 6th place. So even though Kevin Bean is only one game behind a couple people here, and if he would win this week, be 7 and 7, which could also happen to me, could also happen to Disco. Kevin Bean, your point total is just too far back. I believe that there's really, even if you finish 7 and 7, there's really nothing that you could do unless your team has the greatest week in the history of fantasy football this week. There's really nothing that you're going to be able to do here. All right, we got Disco going up against the Titans of Turf. Zach's Tots. And despite Amon-Ra getting hurt early on in this matchup and putting up a 0, Jamison Williams carries the weight and leads Disco to victory, 181.55 to 141.1. Josh Allen gets 32. Amon-Ra said he puts up a 0, but then Jamison comes back and picks up the slack and goes for 27. Jamar Chase gets 18. Ashan gets 22.5. 15.5 for Brees. Mark Andrews just under 9. Devin Neal just under 10. A guy named Brandon gets about 12. And then your Chargers defense, Yahoo says 14. Were there any? I think the only bink this week was the. Was it the Buffalo? Was it Buffalo? Did they have a? I think yeah. They had that return. They had a return. Kick return touchdown, right? Yeah. Or who was it? Was it them? Why am I blanking on this? Who was it that had a kick? Somebody had a kick return touchdown. All right. Yeah, I'm blank. Now I gotta go waste our time here. Going back to look. Who was it? Somebody returned a kick for a touchdown. Anyway, that doesn't matter. I'm wasting our time here. Clock's ticking. We're up to 16 minutes. Nobody cares. Nobody's watching anyway. All right, what do we got? Get back to Disco here. The Chargers defense. What did we bump you up to? 20 would be probably about 23 to 37, something like that. So, yeah, a good score for the Chargers defense at home against the Raiders. A good spot for them there. Puts up a pretty good score. Plenty of points to get past Zach's tots this week. Not exactly the Titans of turf. More like the Smurf of turf. The Smurfs of turfs this year. Dak Prescott goes for 53. DK goes for 6. Romeo goes for 12. Michael Pittman, only 2.3. Vidal goes over 100 yards, gets 24 points. Woody Marks, 7.5. Tyler Warren, 11. Adonai Mitchell pops off this week. Gets 24.2, over 100 yards and a touchdown. The Boz only gets 1 point for a PAT. And then the Detroit Lions defense pretty much got run over by the Green Bay Packers this week. I think, isn't that your other defense? You had to go either Green Bay or Detroit. You went with the home team. Detroit, really, I don't think it would have made a difference either way here. And I believe, just from looking at your score here, yeah, we didn't have to change anything. 0 was the correct score for the Detroit Lions defense this week, Zach. Unfortunately, it didn't matter because you lost by 40. So really not much, even if you'd started the Packers defense, doesn't really matter. None of the guys on your bench could have come through and helped you out either. But yeah, I don't think we did, we didn't, so we get to do it now, I guess. We officially clapping out the Smurfs of turf, Zach's team, done for the year officially. With this little defeat. Disco moves to 7-6. He's in 5th place. While the Titans of Turf drop to 5-8. They are in 10th place. And I guess we didn't do it, so we should. Kevin Bean, the WC Hooligans. I explained already. You really don't have any chance of getting in. You are done. We thank you for your contributions to the season this year. Both of you guys. Who else do we have to clap out? We'll get to Josh here. All right, we got those 3 matchups. We got the number 1 seed. Ed Lager's been sitting on the top of the pile for quite a while now But some problems going on with his team. Justin's starting to get some guys back and healthy, looking to make a run. Ed Lager trying to hold on to that number 1 seed. And Justin says, I'm going to spice things up, shake it up here for the last week of the season. I'm going to knock off Ed Lager. I'm going to get within one game of him. A couple other people are going to do that, and it's going to make week 14 extra spicy. Darkwing Jet gets the victory, 162.35 to 145.15 for Ed. What do we got? We got Matthew Stafford only going for 30 points this week. Finally throws a couple interceptions. Fortunately, it didn't cost Darkwing here. Ted McMillan, only 1 catch, but he made it count. A 40-yard touchdown. Gets 11.3. C.D. Lamb, over 100 yards and a touchdown, 24 points. Egbuka gets 8. Bucky Irving comes back and gets 16. Kyron gets 13. Oronde Gadsden gets 4. Jalen Warren gets 12.5. McLaughlin, your Tampa Bay kicker, gets about 9.5. And then the San Fran defense ends up being pretty good play this week against those Cleveland quarterbacks. Not really sure what is going on there. Yahoo says 15. Justin looked like we gave you about 20 would be too much, so probably a 18 at 21, probably an 18-point bump to to like 33, something like that. Sounds about right. And it was enough to get past Ed Lager, who's got some quarterback issues now. Fortunately, it is not his throwing hand. He's got Justin Herbert. He's got some broken bones in his passing hand, or non-passing hand, his left hand. So we'll see how that affects him going forward. I believe he had surgery yesterday. He's expecting to play this week, but they play on Monday night. Are you willing to take that risk, Ed, in a matchup? Not a must-win, but if you're hoping to hold on to that number 1 seed, win the first place regular season, get that money. This is going to be a tough week for you to try to figure that out. But anyway, some stuff going on here. You got CJ Stroud. It's going to be interesting to see which direction you choose to go in for this week. But anyway, Herbert gets 28.5. Zay Flowers loses the fumble and only gets a half of a point. Devontae Smith, just under 10. Nico gets a rushing touchdown, just under 100 yards, gets you 21.5. Josh Jacobs gets 10. Rico Dowdle gets 10. McBride goes for 22. James Cook also 22. Loop, the Baltimore kicker, just 2 PATs for 2 points. And then the Houston Texans defense, Yahoo says 7. Looks like you got a 12-point bump to 19. Not a bad score for your defense there. But yeah, just not enough to get past Darkwing Jet this week. Said that Zay Flowers half-point hurt you. And Justin's plug-and-play of the San Fran defense was probably a big difference. One of the big factors here, because a lot of your scores are fairly even. Justin's kicker doing way better than yours, and said the defense doing better. And yeah, that 0.5, 0.6 from Zay Flowers hurt you. All right. Is that everybody? Yeah, we got Darkwing Jet. He moves to 8-5. He's in 3rd place. Ed Lager moves to 9-4. He is in 1st place still, but he's got a bunch of dogs barking at his heels, barking and biting. Let's see. All right, we've got 2 matchups left. We got Gags to Riches going up against Hillbillies on PCP, and Gags just keeps on trucking along. Gets the victory, 183.15 to Hillbillies, 158.5. All right, Jacoby Brissett has just been a completion machine since coming in. A great pickup that might be the savior of Gags' season. That pickup of Brissett. So they've, again, I think I've said the last couple weeks, they have seemed to just completely abandon the running game, and they're just throw with Jacoby Brissett. 54 points this week. Pickens goes for 17. Michael Wilson, though, only 6.5. With Marvin Harrison coming back, he got a lot of targets, but it looks like he might have an injury again. He might miss another week. So we'll see what happens there. That's good for Gags, bad for Justin. Excuse me. Mooney goes for 4.5. Chase Brown gets 18. Kareem Hunt gets 9. Kelsey goes for 15.5. All these guys who traded to Gags, he is making it work. DeAndre Swift, 24 points. Ricard, the Minnesota kicker. Unfortunately, they got shut out. That means big 0 for Ricard. And then the Patriots defense. I think Gags was he down? You were down like 10 points or something going into this matchup. But New England defense handled the Giants pretty effectively. That's where the return touchdown, where the bink was. That was Gags that got it. Okay. That was on Monday night there. I didn't catch the first half of the game. Let's see, 17. You got about another 18 points or something like that, to about 35 total for your defense, something like that. But yeah, more than enough to get past Hillbillies on PCP. He's got Jared Goff going for 43. He plugs in Christian Watson, who gets another touchdown. He's actually been putting up pretty solid points since he came back from his injury. Godwin goes for 11, a couple catches. Brian Thomas Jr., 4.8. Judkins goes for 16. Gainwell, 6.5. Brock Bowers, 22.5. RJ Harvey, 21.2. Gets 2 touchdowns. The Clit gets you about 6.5. And then the Steelers defense. Crazy that they got 12 points on Yahoo. I think we actually had to cut points from the Steelers defense there. 9, I believe, was the correct score for the Pittsburgh Steelers defense. But yeah, really a lot of similar scores up and down the lineup here. But it said you won by 25 points. Like, where did that big difference come from for you, Gags? Probably really just defense. I think that was like the biggest factor in here, because just looking up and down your lineups, there's a lot of similar scores, like a 10-point difference between your quarterbacks, and New England defense putting up almost 35, 40 points, something like that. And the Steelers defense putting up 9, so it was almost a 30-point difference between your defenses here. So that was those were the big differences here, your quarterbacks and your defenses. Your buns. Gag's been working out. His buns are stronger than yours, Brian. You have to work on that in the off season here. Anyway, Gags, he's 8-5. He is all the way up now in 4th place. While Hillbillies on PCP dropped to 4-9, and they remain in the basement at 12th place. And then finally, we've got the not-so-tidy Whiteys going up against the Shawshank Athletics. Detling's team trying to hold on and stay in the race for not just the number 2 seed, but possibly stealing away the number 1 seed and a bye, since Chase is on for that last bye week. Josh just trying to hold on to have any chance for making the playoffs here, but it is not meant to be. And Josh, we clap you out for 2025 as the not so. We'll go with the actual name here. Not so mighty Whites. He gets the victory, bouncing back from ending his winning streak last week. 183.85 to 163.85. So an exactly 20-point difference here. What do we got? We've got Jackson Dart going for 32. Justin Jefferson, only 2.5. Roma Dunze, again, only 2.5. Rashee Rice is like, I guess I'll have to carry all the weight myself here. He gets 29.5. CMC, 17.5. Saquon, only 5.5. Hunter Henry, 11. What the fuck is Taysom Hill doing in your lineup here, Matt? What are you... Are you just fucking with Josh? Are you just taunting him? Why is Taysom Hill in your starting lineup when you've got David Montgomery? And even Ramondre Stevens is getting carries. And you got Drake London on the bench there. He's hurt. So we'll see. We'll see what they decide to do with him. You might be getting him back for the playoff race here. All right. Plus, he's in one of your IR spots right now, which means he's so just looking at Drake London. He's got a Q next to his name, which means he's no longer eligible for the IR spot. So I don't know if you're gonna wait and see, because I'm only mentioning this because, as we know, Matt has no quarterback for the upcoming week. Jackson Dart and Brock Purdy are both on a bye. So yeah, and CMC obviously is going to be on a bye. So it's going to be interesting to see what Detling does. Perhaps he'll wait and see what goes on with Drake London, because you can't make any transactions if somebody who is not IR eligible who's no longer eligible for IR remains in one of your IR spots. You got to take him out before you can pick up anybody. So maybe you're going to wait and see if they rule London out before you make a move, or you'll have to drop somebody. I'm going to guess maybe Taysom Hill. But anyway, I digress again. Jason Myers, man, your Seahawk defense special teams combination just goes bonkers in this matchup against the Vikings at home in Seattle, starting that rookie quarterback. He seemed to have no idea what he was doing. They get shut out. Jason Myers, the Seattle kicker, Yahoo says 19. He went for about 21 points. And then the Seattle Seahawks defense. I know Yahoo says 40. I believe the actual total was 61. Yeah, 61 points from the Seattle defense here. Even if they had if they had only gotten the 40 that Yahoo says, Josh would win this matchup. But unfortunately, it was not meant to be. Josh said they got the 60-something points. They had a bink. Was it a bink? I think so. I can't remember for sure. Yeah, that was a long. So those were the two binks this week. An interception return and a kick return. All right, for Josh, we got Patrick Mahomes going for 55. Alec Pierce been pretty solid for you, 18 points. Debo gets 11. Waddle gets 7. Bijan gets another 33. Unfortunately, a wasted effort there. Most of this season has been a wasted effort. Unfortunately, Josh, from Bijan for you. Kenneth Walker gets 10.5. Hawkinson gets 12. Quentin Johnston gets 11. Carlson, just 2 PATs for 2 points. And your Baltimore Ravens defense, they actually get thumped by Cincinnati. Yahoo says 4. I believe that is the correct score. 4 points for your Baltimore Ravens defense. So yeah, almost a 60-point difference between defenses in this matchup. That was really the deciding factor in this one. Josh, we said 61-4, a 57-point difference in a matchup you lost by 20. So yeah, it was there for you. It could have happened, but yeah, the minutes you can write a very angry letter to Kevin O'Connell and the Minnesota Vikings after this week. And said, Josh, we clap you out. We thank you. We bid you adieu for 2025. Not so mighty Whites gets the victory. He's in second. He remains in second place. He's 8-5. Shawshank Athletics dropped to 9th place at 5-8. All right, so that is the week that was, and a lot of these matchups and just things fell into place that really is going to shake up Week 14 and make things interesting, make things a little spicy here as Ed trying to hold on to that number 1 seed He's going against Disco, who's got to get a victory. Pretty, not entirely, but it would certainly help to get a victory and make the playoffs this week. Unfortunately, fortunately for you and unfortunately for me, my team shit the bed so hard this week. My 50-point lead over you in overall point total went up in smoke, and now you're about 6.5 points ahead of me. So here's what we got for week 14. So we've got Disco versus Ed. We've got, said he drops to 9-4. We've now got Detling, Justin, and Gags all right behind. But Ed, just looking at the overall point totals here, Detling is your only real threat to take over the number one spot. Ed, you're almost 200 points ahead of both Justin and Gags. So even if they get win number 9, Justin is playing Josh, who's just playing for pride at this point. And Gags, you're playing Possum Magic, also just playing for pride at this point. So yeah, possibly. But even if those guys get victories, yeah. And Ed, if you lose to Disco, the only way you lose the number 1 seed is if Detling gets a victory this week, and he is playing the XXIII Hooligans, playing for pride also this week. But again, we've got Not So Mighty Whites with not so many quarterbacks this week. He's got no quarterback. He's got no CMC. XXIII still, let's see, let's take a look at his roster. It's pretty much the exact same as it was last week. Said he's got Eagles going against, they're at the Chargers. Gonna wait, it'll be interesting. We're gonna see what happens with said Justin Herbert, how his injury plays out. Let's see. So Detling, he's got, what do we got? He's got David Montgomery in there. He's still got Taysom Hill at tight end. He's got Josh Downs in there. So Ramondre Stevenson, Patriots are also on a bye. So yeah. Okay, so no Hunter Henry. That's, oh man, Taysom Hill. Yikes. I think he picked up the Washington defense, thinking that they were going to have a golden opportunity against that same quarterback. I don't even know his name, but I think J.J. McCarthy is supposed to come back this week. Still, that's not any better. Really much better of improvement here for Minnesota. Kevin's pretty much at full strength, even though that includes Jordan Mechie, Jordan Mason, Blake Corum. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. If XXIII Hooligans can pull off another upset and knock off Detling this week, that would move, really, I don't think, well, so that could drop Detling down to either 3rd or 4th. Detling, yeah, if Matt loses, he could definitely drop a couple spots here, possibly even maybe all the way down to 5th. It's going to be a lot of maneuvering, I think, in the playoff seedings here. Again, that the bye weeks are up for grabs at this point. So yeah, but the biggest factor in the matchup here now is going to be probably the most important one. Is, unfortunately, I said I got to stress all week. Me versus Jim, Biscuits and Porn. Thanks to his 0.5 victory over Possum Magic and my loss to the XXIII Hooligans, we are now both 7-6, and whoever wins this matchup is in. The only thing that can happen, the only thing I could possibly have happen for me, if I lose, is I also would have to have, the only possible way I could lose and get in, there's still a chance, is I would have to have Disco also lose, and I would have to make up that 6.5 point deficit that I am behind him. So yeah, we're gonna have an exciting week 14 here to see how it shapes up. So now this Sunday is gonna be my first Sunday back at work, which I'm not looking forward to already. So I'm not gonna get to pay much attention to what goes on. So yeah, I did not this time last week. I did not think that I would be in this position where my season is on the line. So yeah, hoping to pull off a victory here and knock Biscuits and Porn out. Otherwise, I very likely am going to be out for the and for the playoffs here. So yeah, we got some matchups. I think the Bills Bengals matchup going to be a lot riding on that one for me and Jim, and then also the Broncos Raiders. I feel like that's a good matchup. Hopefully, a good matchup for me with the Broncos defense. I think they put up like 40 points on the Raiders last time. Even though this is in Vegas, I feel like that's if I have an advantage this week, it's going to be the Broncos defense going against Geno Smith and the Raiders. So hopefully Bo Nix won't need to do a whole lot this week. So yeah, we'll see. Hopefully T. Higgins gets himself out of the concussion protocol. And yeah, this is going to be a matchup. Definitely, I think it's going to be great. A nail-biter matchup. He's got JSN, who just had a quiet performance. So I'm worried about that. I got all sorts of... it's going to be... Yeah, those two games. Again, Bills-Bengals, Raiders-Broncos. Going to be two huge matchups in this matchup for us. And again, if Disco, you just need to get that victory. You are in if you get it. And if you lose to Ed, you would need... the only way you as I said, you win and you're in. If you lose, you have to have me lose and not outscore you by whatever that would be. Because if you lose, excuse me, my trusty Bucky's thermos here. If you lose and Jim wins, he would take the 5 spot. You would still have the 6 spot. So unless you score less than me. So a lot of moving parts here in week 14. Really everybody who is in the top 4, Ed, Matt, Justin, Gags, there's nothing you can do to get knocked out. You guys are in. Even though Yahoo has not clinched you guys, I just don't see any way that you guys get knocked down. Just because of the matchups, Justin being said, even if you guys, if Matt, who's Matt playing? Dubsy. If Matt lost, let's say Justin lost to Shawshank, and Gags were to lose to Possum, and say Disco was to beat Ed, and say I was to beat Jim, that would make all of these teams 8-6. That would make Jim 7-7. Yeah, I'm not really sure why you guys aren't clinched a playoff spot, but I'm fairly certain. So even if that were to happen, that all of these teams would go to 8-6. Yeah, the best that Biscuits. I mean, if either me or Biscuits. So the best Dubsy can do is 7-7. The only problem with Justin and Gags is your point totals. You're like 200 points behind everybody else. So you could drop to like 5-6. If you guys were to lose and Disco and I both win, we could move up ahead of you to like 3 and 4 instead of 5 and 6. So yeah, this is really going to be for you guys. I don't see any real way that Justin here and Gags, guys, I just don't see really any way that you guys drop out of playoff contention or out of the playoffs. So even though Yahoo has not clinched you, basically the point I'm making. But yeah, me versus Jim, win or go home. Will our will our trade come back to bite me? Will Bo Nix throw 2 touchdowns to Troy Franklin this week, while T. Higgins remains in the concussion? Maybe he's in the. Will he get out of the concussion protocol? Will he even play? So yeah, it was definitely a risk reward trade, and oftentimes trades that I make turn around and usually end up turning around and biting me in the ass. So we'll see. I just try not to think about it too much. We'll see what happens here. Hopefully Jahmyr Gibbs bounces back for me on Thursday night. So yeah, going to be stressing about that basically all week, and I think it won't be decided until Monday night because I think he's got Lad McConkey. So yeah, other than a seedings shuffle, Ed, Det, Justin, and Gags, you guys are in it. For Disco, me and Jim basically already summed this all up. Me or Jim, whoever loses is out. Well, if Jim loses, he's out. If Jim wins, he's in. If I win, I'm in. If I lose, I need Disco to also lose, and myself, and I need to outscore him by about 7 points at least. Disco, win and you're in. Lose, and you just need to outscore me by at least really outscore me. Well, you got like a 6 point cushion there. Just not have me outscore you by 7 points or so. So that's pretty much it. We're gonna have a very interesting week 14. I'm gonna be nervous as hell. I'm already nervous as hell. Thinking gonna cruise into the playoffs here. Even if it's not the number 6 seed, I'll take that. The way this the roller coaster ride that this season has been, but not gonna get ahead of ourselves. Biscuits and Porn, just as capable of knocking anybody off at any time. So yeah, it's gonna be a tough one. Gonna be sweating it out. Yeah, one of us is going home, most likely. Hate that it comes down to that, but makes it exciting. Hate to one of us is gonna have our season. All this fighting. It's a shame that it said just an up and down season, fighting through all these battles and injuries and stuff. To just have have it come down to the last week, perhaps the last game of the last week, to be going home and being knocked out of the playoffs here. So, yeah, again, sound like a broken record, but this is gonna be a very spicy week 14, guys, in terms of the top 7 teams here who are going to be in it. Yeah, seedings. Who will Ed be able to hold on to the 1 seed? Will Detling be able to snipe it away from him? Or will somebody else? So Detling's the only person who could snipe that number 1 spot. But there's also got Justin and Gags could also go in there and sneak away the number 2 seed and a bye week. So Disco, win you're in. Wizard, win and you're in. Biscuits, win and you're in. We got 2 spots for 3 players. We'll see how that shakes out. Fingers crossed, hoping we can get in and make a run at it here. All right, we're hoping for another trade, not to bite me in the ass. The JSN trade before the season has worked out pretty well for Biscuits and Porn. The only thing I'll say about that is, I'll say two things. I definitely thought about keeping JSN and letting Burrow go. So keeping Puka and JSN, definitely did think about it, but ended up going with Burrow. And mostly because the reasoning behind that is number two, I don't have faith in Sam Darnold. He's proven, kudos to him for proving me wrong, but going into this season, I just did not have faith in Sam Darnold, but he's just been chucking it up to JSN all year long. So he's not getting a lot of catches, but he has been piling up the yardage here. So, all right, guys, that's it. This final week of the regular season is upon us. It's going to be a very interesting one for most of us, and see where the seedings, see where everyone lands. If anybody can steal a bye week here at the end. See who gets in for sure. See who exits. Somebody is going to make an exit here. So yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for listening, watching, or whatever it is you do. May everyone's players and teams meet or exceed expectations this week. Nobody gets hurt. Everybody has fun. And we come back here, hopefully not to me in tears. After a crazy year that it's been, just getting excited to have Joe Burrow back. Hopefully it does not all come crashing down. Thanks to that missed field goal or whatever. All right, guys. We'll be back here next week to talk about the events of the final week of the regular season. Should be a good one. As I've said over, I feel like I've said over and over and over and over. All right, guys. Again, thanks for listening, watching. I don't think anybody ever gets to this point anyway. But yeah, we will see you back here next week to talk about the final week of the regular season. And we head into the playoffs for Tonto Bowl 23. All right, guys. Good luck to everyone this week who is playing for getting your playoff spot here, or just trying to make it. Good luck to everyone, and that's it. Thanks again. Bye-bye.